go. Hello. Welcome.
Well,
Hello.
hi. Hello, everybody.
Welcome
Look
to
at
the
that.
Pragmatic Duelist podcast.
You
We're
can see my
growing and growing. And we
Yes,
can see Stephanie's face. Look at her.
yeah, this will be the first time you are actually on YouTube.
There might be new people who've never seen your face.
this is true.
Yeah. Now look, there you are.
I'm a fourth person.
There you go. You're not a blank. You're not just a blank anymore.
Yeah. And we have a guest today again. Like we are just killing the guest. Last week we did our book club?
Yeah.
Oh crap. Yeah, so we had guests then. Now we got another guest. Like,
And I'm so
what
excited.
is happening? Yeah.
I don't know.
Here.
Our synapses are firing and on all levels. It's doesn't usually happen.
Mhm.
And I'm so excited about this guest. So let's get started with the land acknowledgement, and then we will introduce our
Yeah.
guest. All right.
Yeah.
I'm doing the land
Oh,
acknowledgement.
okay. Great.
So we would like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather, and which the region of Peel, where I live, operate, and live, and raise my family, is part of the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabe, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, Ojibwe, Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are the direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We're grateful to have the opportunity to work and live on this land, and by doing so, give respect to its first inhabitants.
All right. Awesome.
Good job. Good job.
All right. Now, I am very proud to announce that our guest, Jodi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning. I would love to. My name is Jodi Congdon. Am I the only non-Canadian?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are.
Yeah. We used to do this. We used to do this together, like at my kitchen table.
Oh,
In person.
soon. Hopefully soon you'll be able to do it again. So I'm from Boston, the Boston area. And I own Hip to Heart, which is concierge care for during and after pregnancy. So basically, it's an agency that does labor doula care, postpartum care, and lactation support. I started off as just a postpartum doula and then added lactation. And then eventually I started training, doing postpartum doula and lactation educator trainings for Kappa. And then a couple of years ago, I got engaged and we had some family illness, and I took a step back from doing private care and really tried to figure out how to stay in the game and stay relevant. And I transitioned my business into an agency. So fast forward, here we are. And I also do some additional business training. So for birth professionals specifically, focusing on the business side.
Right, and that's where I met you at the Kappa conference.
Yes.
And you were the first speaker, actually, as a bonus speaker, and I'm so pleased. And listened to your talk on like
Digital
doing,
courses.
doing
Yep.
digital classes and things like that. And I was like, fire lit under my butt.
Yep.
Let's get moving. Let's try and do this.
It's a perfect time for it too. And, I hate saying like COVID, benefited people in some way, but I feel like for all of us who were doing hands-on care as our only, means of work, having to pivot really quickly into virtual care and virtual classes and all of that, and then sort of figuring out how to make that like a sustainable thing. So now we're, pivoting again and moving towards digital. And even when we go back to in-person care, those digital courses and anything that we're doing can still be available to anyone. So they're, it's just passive income for us as we continue to, go back to in-person care or do things virtually still, however that looks. I think, in our area, it's going to be a mix of both for a while. And I'm, hearing more about the winter bringing on, less in person and more virtual. So perfect timing to get stuff done online.
Absolutely. I'm so excited about the potential and moving forward.
I mean, the potential is incredible.
So I think we wanted to talk about, and actually we were, and I'm sorry if this sort of jumps you in a direction maybe you weren't planning on going, but we were talking about, we were going to talk about maybe social media and how we can sort of utilize social media to benefit and promote and all of this stuff.
Yep.
We also wanted to maybe talk about promotion in general of, something that you have and how we can do that better.
Yeah. I mean, there's a tasteful way to promote, and then a weird kind of icky feeling way to promote. And I think too on social media, you don't want to bombard people, and you don't want to be like disrespectful of their space or their groups or anything like that. But, you definitely want to get your message out. So trying to figure out how to do that is sometimes tricky. But when you figure it out though, and you have like a rhythm to talk about your business, or even, when someone likes or follows you on Instagram, send them a quick DM and say, hey, thanks for the follow. Here's a little more about me, or here's a little bit more about what I do if you were interested. And either they are or they aren't, but it's not, totally spammy, and it's informational, and it's also you're thanking them for following you. And it's, hopefully genuine. And I do that when people follow me who I know are interested in what I have to do. I get people who follow me who it seems like we're not connected at all. And so I don't DM them. I might say thanks for the follow, but I don't think they're interested in anything that I have going on. So I don't, pursue that in any way. And I would say probably.
So then you don't DM the old guy's named Bob?
No.
Have like 0 posts and 2 followers?
I don't get Bob, but I do get a lot of foreign men who are like bodybuilders.
What is that?
Or in the army.
Where on earth they think we're connected? I don't. There's not one hashtag that I put out there that would want them to be part of my.
Or one guy who'll say you open up a message and they send it to, like, you've got the 2 different message streams, and then somebody just says, hey, gorgeous. And I'd be like, what do you want? This is a business account. Are you interested in doula services? Stop doing that. That's really creepy. Don't be an asshole.
I don't even ask. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, I'm tired now. Now I don't have enough
They
time.
find their way to my account.
So you
terrified to engage.
Nope. That's a thank you, but no thank you.
Good to know.
Yeah.
It's like, stop it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even say stop it. I just go right to the next thing. I find that weird. I would never in a million years, follow someone or message them or whatever for like any other reason besides what they're putting out there. Yeah. And it's like my picture is my logo. There's not even, I don't take pictures of clients or really bellies or anything that could be, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Crazy.
But
what makes it, what's that icky side? Because I think for me, when it comes to promotion and especially social media, I am so back from things. I would also feel like, ooh, like, do I message them to thank them? I don't want to bother them. I don't want to.
Like, oh, you can buy this thing here, but it never is salesy. A lot of times I'll just say, oh, if you're interested in, learning more about the business, side of the birth community, I have this really great group on Facebook, and I usually say, next week, we're doing a Zoom call. Like, so next Wednesday, we're doing a Zoom call about goals, but we're talking about our end goals. What is the place you want to be where you say, okay, this is it. Like, this is what I've been striving for. So I'll add that. I'll say, thank you for the follow. If you're interested in learning more about the business side of birth, I have this great Facebook group. Next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be doing a Zoom call about, goals. And then I'll do some sort of like fun emoji. That way it's like I'm letting them know about the group, but giving them a little bit of information about things we do in there without having it be like, we learn about marketing and network. I mean, I don't want it to be this long thing. So I usually plug in one thing that we're doing like the following week. So it gives them time to join and prepare.
I find that the people who do that, who I follow, who then DM me in return, are like fitness coach people. They
I
are
get a lot of those. Yep.
like,
If you want to lose like 30 pounds in 30 days or,
yeah,
you know, this challenge or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of those people out on Instagram, and they drive me insane because none of them reflect me, and I don't feel like any of them will ever understand my needs. So the answer
Yeah, so these are the people that I send these things to. In their profile, it says, you know, doula, childbirth educator. I sometimes look at their website or I look at their Facebook page. Like I definitely make sure, but most of them on their bio, it says like, you know, doula. So I'm like, okay, you're my people. Like this is
there. Yeah.
yeah, it's you're gonna it's likely you're gonna want to hear some of the things I have to say. But yeah, I would never try to sell anything to anyone ever, or have them like, you know, look at this page for the course that I teach or anything like that.
But then, and I think that's where that sort of ickiness comes from,
Yeah,
because when you get those people, you know, like the fitness people, like I had one that, you know, even when I said, you know, I really appreciate sort of what you've sent me, really don't have the funds right now to do that, and came back with, oh, you can always find money and blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah.
And I'm
People
like,
always say that.
okay, you're starting to get a little bit
Yep.
pushy, and
Yes. Like if
no,
you
I
don't know
don't have the
me,
money.
my life. So
Well, people like
screw
that's
you.
happened to me where people will say, you know, oh, I have this great like nutritional whatever, and you know, it's if it's pricey, and then you'll say, you know, no, thank you. Then they'll come back and they'll break it down. Well, you're spending, you know, an average of $5 at Starbucks, and I'm like, that's my life. I said
Yeah,
I'm not interested. Like, I don't
yeah.
care if you break down what the cost is. So yeah, that's creepy, and I don't like that. That's an automatic no for me for
And that's
clients.
like that multi-level marketing where they're like, you know, really pushing and pushing and pushing. And I think that's
I think a lot of
where,
that's scripted too. I think
oh
they have
yeah,
like a script for if you say no one time, here's what you say. If they
yeah,
say no a second time, here's like the third you know.
yeah.
So yeah, that is an automatic no.
No, and I think that's where, you know, I definitely don't, as far as promotion goes, don't want to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love the thing I heard, you know, know, like, trust, like
Yep.
that. If you know me and you can relate to me and you think that I can help you in some way and you trust that I can do that,
Yep.
then that's sort of, and that's why even with, um, what do you say, social media and Instagram and stuff, I've started to become a little more personal
Yep.
in sort of what I put out there, whereas before it was like all just, you know, curated pictures and things like that. It didn't
Yep.
really have anything to do with me as a human.
So I think this is like the perfect sort of segue into like things you can do, you know, for exposure and sales and things like that on Facebook. Start a Facebook group. That is like my most favorite thing to tell people. I have my business Facebook group, and it is so like little sales and so much like true caring about like what is happening to the people in the group, and helping them. And that actually that's like the know, like, and trust factor right there. Like I think there's like almost 1,000 people in the group. I think they really do know me. Like I'm in there all the time. I'm talking about my life. I'm talking about my business, and you know, my family I talk about very little, but and I'm constantly asking about their lives and their businesses. And you know, I prompt a lot with, you know, questions that get them to talk about themselves. And I really do, you know, they do get to know me, and you know, I would like to think they like me, but they do trust that I have something to offer them that is going to take them from where they are now to where they want to be with their business. And I very rarely sell in there, and I probably should try to sell a little bit more. But the conversations just naturally go in a direction where it's just sales is not on the forefront of my mind. But I do, when I do, you know, one-on-one calls, they're free and you can call me anytime and chat about your business. There's a tiny bit of selling at the end because there's something that I can sell you that you're looking for, right? But my group is really, really mainly about working on your business in a very genuine way. And it's, yeah, that has been hugely successful for me in transitioning into, you know, sales at the end of the day. But it's definitely a big part of what I, you know, what my work is on a daily basis is being in that group, being present.
So you're sort of like a business coach. Would that be an accurate description?
Yeah. And I do have groups. I do have groups for everyone I train for postpartum doula and lactation. I have my page, and that's more birthy, you know, more birthy information, more stuff about, you know, postpartum care and things like that. But the business group, yeah, is just solely for business stuff. And I do a lot of coaching in there.
Okay. So for you, it makes sense then. The people who are in your Facebook group are doulas who are interested in learning more about business, right?
Yes.
So what would an ordinary doula, you know, somebody who goes to births, does some postpartum, and that's what they do, and that's their gig. What would a person like that have, like, what would a Facebook group consist of for an ordinary doula like that?
There's so many things you can have, you know, for your group. And an example, I'll get to your question in a second, but I was just talking to someone last night who does birth and newborn photography, and their group is not growing. They have some, you know, past clients in there and some of their clients, friends and family, which I didn't really understand. But I said, what if you started a group for photographers who are looking to get into birth and newborn photography? Then you can talk more about the actual photography and technique and things like that. And maybe that would turn into some sort of coaching or course or something, because that's your expertise. It's funny with birth, because it's a finite amount of time. You go through it and then you're postpartum, and then all of a sudden your kids are 10 and you're still in this group for, like, you know, pregnant women. But as a doula, you could have, you know, maybe a group for providers, right? You could have a group for OBs and midwives and nurses who want to learn more about the doula side of birth. And I feel like that is huge now, because now that the doula community is growing leaps and bounds, the medical side needs to learn more about what we're doing, because we're there, right? You could have your group for pregnant women and, you know, postpartum. You could have a group for other doulas in your area to either collaborate or, you know, you could be the leader and the expert and, you know, sort of have some guidance and some, you know, education. There's lots of things you can do with your group other than just, you know, the pregnant clients. But I think just kind of trying to figure out who your ideal clientele is for whatever direction you're going in, and having a group for that. As long as you're in there and you're genuine and you're interesting, it grows. You know, if you post one thing, you know, every couple of days, and, you know, it's a motivational quote, there's no reason for me to comment on that. Like, but if you ask me, you know, one of the biggest, you know, posts is, how long was your labor? If, you know, 0 to 5 hours is the red heart, you know, you get like 7,000 people answering because they want to tell you how long their labor was. Like, that's a huge part of, you know, their life, and they want to talk about it. And then the one person who puts like 48 hours, everyone else who had a crazy labor comments, oh my God, I was in labor for 3 days. And then you start this like community of people who have had long labors, and they start connecting, and, you know, you pipe in and comment, and, you know, so you want to engage in there in a way that allows people to engage too. You know, polls, when someone puts a poll up, you know, you put your dot in and that's it. So instead of doing things like that, give them options to comment on, because Facebook only likes the engagement. They like the comments. They like the likes. They don't care they don't care about a poll. And you want the most people possible to see what you're posting. So you have to have, you know, good engagement for Facebook to acknowledge that your group is, you know, a good one. And then it starts, you know, random people will start getting these, you know, a group that you might like, and then they suggest your group because it has really great engagement. So you have to finesse it. It takes some work to get your group up and moving. But once like my group right now, probably I would say 2 months ago, more people started posting, asking questions, and those are getting great engagement. I don't always have to be the leader. Like someone will ask about, a marketing thing, and other people will chime in, and then I chime in. And a lot of times I'll say, let's get on Zoom and talk about this. And then you have, 3 times as many people on there. And so I have to do a little bit less, in the group now. I'm still in there multiple times a day, but people are really starting to like take the reins and get in there and, lead a little bit, which is nice.
So Suzanne, I just started actually last week, created a Facebook page, a Facebook group for those that are taking my prenatal class. Now I'd done that in the past, zero, got
Mm-hmm.
nothing, nobody even wanted to join, nothing. This time around, I sent it out and I've talked about it not just in the prenatal class, but also in the infant care class where the same people are potentially going. And I've got like 12, got like 12 now. I just started last week. But the, and the first post I did was actually telling one of my birth stories. So I told Allie's birth story because nobody needs to hear Will's. It's horrifying. But now I'm like, okay, well now hearing this, I'm like, okay, how can I get them engaged? Because I think that's the thing is creating this, but then getting that
Maintaining
engagement.
it.
Yeah. I don't mind the maintaining it because I mean, I barely leave the house anymore. So, what else am I doing?
Mhm.
But it's a matter of, you know, I think for me, it's finding that engagement because I have a mentoring group too. And I'll post a question and what would you do Wednesday and things like that. And I get like one comment or two. And it's like, for God's sake, people, you join this group.
Yeah.
What do you need?
They may not be seeing it though. Like that's frustrating sometimes to be like, hello, are you out there? Like you joined this group, pay attention. And then they're like, oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, like
And
that. I
you're like,
think
"Yeah."
how does that change? I don't
Yeah, you just have to you have to keep engagement going. And I think, when you start a group, inviting, so is your group just for people who have taken your course, or could it be for
No,
people who
well, it used to be
oh,
because I used to be a Kappa trainer um, a while ago.
yep.
So it started as being just those that I had trained. And actually, funnily enough, had more engagement. But then I started, when I stopped being a trainer, I thought, well, I can open this up to others who have taken trainings. The
Mhm,
only thing that I insist on is that you already have to be trained.
mhm.
I don't want people in the group that are, what training did you take? And I'm like, ugh, just
Yep.
take, just, I've already told you 8 billion times what to do.
So
Um,
are your membership questions set up as such, so you
yep,
say, what training have you already taken, or
yep,
do you understand you already have to be trained?
yep.
So maybe throw a little contest in there. If everyone invites 3 people, because you can see when people, join your group, you can see who invited them.
Okay.
All you have to do is invite 3 people, and then at the end of the week, I'm gonna do pick a random, number. So I always do that, and then I'll assign everyone a number, and I do like a random number generator on my phone, and I send like a $20 Starbucks gift card.
Oh, wow.
I mean, people will jump through a hoop of fire for a $20 Starbucks gift card. No joke. I mean,
It's true.
I
I
will.
would invite, how hard is it to get on there and think of 3 people who would be, especially in the birth community, 10,000 people, who would be interested in this group, whether it's for pregnant people or whatever, 10,000 pregnant people too. Invite 3 of them. All you have to do is say, invite to the group. I mean, it's so easy. And then it grows your group by like 300 people over the week.
Here's my issue, because I did one of the people in my class actually had the idea of starting a Facebook group for all of the people who took the classes at that hospital. But here's the thing, people lose interest because they're only pregnant for so long. So the group is based on people who attended prenatal classes.
Yep.
Why are you going to 6 months after you've had your baby, that group feels sort of out?
But that's why I made the new group that I just created because I was in that group.
Yeah.
It was great for maybe the first couple months and then nothing. But
Yeah.
this
Also,
one
I wasn't engaging. I wasn't like posting
was
every day and
Yep.
I
putting
wasn't either.
stuff. So,
Um, But I've made this one not a pregnant person's group, but a new parent group.
And even when you're doing that, even if it's pregnant or a new parent, you know, maybe once a week, say, you know, the moms of 1-year-olds, what's your favorite product now? The moms who have a 2-year-old and are pregnant again, like, so sort of cycle through some other things. And that also, you're keeping the people who have 1-year-olds engaged, but you're also hitting the people who have like a 3-month-old who are like, okay, when, you know, 6 months from now, I'm going to need to start thinking about a high chair or this stroller, or, you know, when it gets nice in the spring, I want to start running. Oh, they're talking about strollers. So you're engaging multiple groups of people, but just in different ways.
Okay, so my question is ultimately, like, bottom line, what's your objective? What's the point of a Facebook group? What are we trying to do here?
So you're trying to ultimately, if you're teaching classes, sell your classes. If you're teaching a course, sell your course. So my ultimate goal in this, obviously, is to help everyone and, you know, their mother have the business they want. So a lot of that happens in the face group. But I also have a digital course. So I have a course that is a foundational course for when you are done with your training. Here are all the things that you need to do to get your business moving. It's $97. So fine. You know, you know me, you like me, you trust me, you buy my $97 course. You like what it tells you, you get your business going, but then for me, you know, you might need some additional coaching. So I do some one-on-one and some group coaching. So I've made, you know, some revenue on the digital course, but also people after that may want some, you know, coaching. So that's additional revenue for me. You also find out that I teach a postpartum doula and a lactation educator training. So somewhere in your learning experience, you want to expand your services because you should have multiple, you know, revenue streams. Oh, Jodi teaches the lactation educator course. I'm going to take it with her because it's virtual, even though I live in California, she's in Boston. So for me, there's multiple revenue points that I touch on with every person in the group. Whether they buy or not, you know, it's fine, but at least they're learning about what I have to offer. So for me, that's what that group is at the end of the day. So I guess, you know, if you're trying to fill classes or sell something, you got to weave that into your group somewhere.
Right.
So sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, for me, I'm hoping that, you know, some of the people that have joined this group aren't due until end of November into December. And my hope is that, you know, that maybe, and I haven't done this yet, but maybe that, you know, I can get the virtual doula thing in there. If not, then, you know, after they've had their class, then maybe it can be, oh, some virtual breastfeeding support and some virtual postpartum support and things like that.
Even
So
a
that,
virtual support group, like,
yeah,
you know, $5 or $10 each week. And you have like a legitimate series of postpartum support groups. And, you know, some of the ones that I do, they're free and they're each week and they're drop-in. But some of the more like regimented ones that I do are a series that you have to buy. So they look a little bit different than the drop-in ones. There's a topic, you know, there's a little more, you know, you get the same people each week because they purchase the series versus the drop-in. So there's like the social piece of it too. So yeah, so I mean, for you, there's many points in their pregnancy and postpartum that, you know, you could touch upon.
So really the groups act as the opportunity for like see, know, and like, or you know, you build the trust component. Even if you're not participating, you can watch how the leader of that group interacts with it.
Recommend, even though like someone in the group may not need me, they might have a doula friend who they're chatting with and she's talking about something and they're like, oh, you know, this person, Jodi, who blah, 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 she might be able to help you.
Yeah, so it acts as that platform. It does the building through the interaction.
But also, I think a really important part of having your Facebook group is part of your membership questions should be, would you like, to give me your email address so you can, stay on top of all the awesome stuff that we're doing? And that is huge for me. I have, quite an email list from this group that I send out emails when I have a promotion, or when I have one spot left in a training, or so next Wednesday, we're doing that Zoom call about goals. I'll send out a reminder about it and make sure that everyone knows, because you just really never know in your group who's seeing your stuff, but everyone gets the email that you send out, and you can see exactly who opened it, who clicked on what. So for me, that's a huge part of it, because I have more like control over the email group than I do for Facebook group.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal, I think, of getting the email. And not everybody says yes to it, but 8.5 out of 10 people say, sure, exclamation point, and give me their email. And then you have some people who else, it says, would you like to leave your email address so you can, be in touch or whatever. And then some people write yes, and then don't give their email address. I'm like, well, how am I going to get it? I know you're excited, but you gotta be a little more on top of it. But yeah, so I've grown my email list exponentially from just my Facebook group.
So really and truly it is consistency, consistent engagement, and being focused. Is that what I'm hearing too? Because you have ultimately in your head, we're not doing this for shits and giggles. Nobody's doing this because we just love to engage with people on the internet. This is a business.
A few people do, but no, I'm not doing that.
It's not me.
That's not me. Yeah. Yeah, there's a goal, and it is a business strategy. That's why I'm on Instagram. It's a business strategy, even though I'm posting my puppy walks.
Yep.
Literally a business strategy, because I want you to think it's cute that I'm going on walks with my puppy.
Because people get to know you as a person. Even though your business is you also, they want to see your puppy. I just got an email this morning. My web designer got a dog. And so basically I know that her and her wife lost their dog last year, and they were waiting and blah, blah, blah. So now, we're anxiously waiting for her to get a new dog, right? She's my web designer. I pay her to do services she happens to be someone I went to high school with, so maybe bad example, but I want to know what your dog looks like. I'm waiting to see what your tiny puppy looks like. So, that's, you get to be sort of in their lives a little bit. So yes, of course we want to see you walking your dog.
Yeah.
That's you.
That's my point, is that I'm not doing that just because I want everybody to see my cute puppy. Sure I do, but it's on my Instagram business page.
Of course.
The background reason for that is because I want people to say, oh, a doula with a nice little puppy would be a good thing. Or
because it makes you real and relatable.
Yes. And endear yourself to people.
100%. That's a smart business strategy for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn it, now I need to go get a new dog.
Well, I have a 10-year-old German Shepherd. People love her. You don't have to get a new dog.
But the reason why I got her.
She's like a business strategy.
Oh my God, my dog just looked at me. Yeah. He's over here looking at me like,
don't you dare.
You think I don't understand what you're saying?
I love you, honey. You're fine. You smell like skunk, but you're fine. Don't worry. I can't afford a new dog.
Likes the dog too. That's the most important thing, is that your community likes the dog.
Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit about other, we've talked about Instagram and Facebook, which are two of the big ones, but what about all this, Twitter? Is there a point to being on Twitter for it's so much. I feel completely overwhelmed when I think about all these different platforms that are out there. And
you have to figure out where your audience is. I'm not a fan of Twitter personally, or for my business. I will tell you, my husband, my brother, they're on Twitter to follow people and read about politics and sports. Basically, that's what they do. They don't ever engage or comment. They read interactions between, people and businesses. And so I don't use Twitter. I don't think my audience is on Twitter my ideal audience. My ideal audience is Facebook and Instagram. I will say though that there is LinkedIn, like back in the day, I don't know how back in the day it really is, but was very corporate focused. So when I was, in corporate America, I used it all the time, right? Had my resume updated all the time. And then I, had a kid, backed off and started my own business and dropped it. But now there's so much more to LinkedIn for people who are, solopreneurs. You can get on there and connect with people different than before. No one's looking for your resume. You can link it to, different things that you're doing. And I haven't explored that quite yet, but there is, I listen to Amy Porterfield's podcast a lot, and she did a little social media one where she talked about Facebook and someone else talked about Instagram and someone else talked about LinkedIn, and I was blown away by what LinkedIn has to offer for us, for all of us as one-off small business owners that I didn't think was relevant on LinkedIn. So when I have a free minute, it's on my to-do list is get on LinkedIn. But my main, Facebook and Instagram for me is like the absolute main focus. Facebook more than Instagram for my audience, but definitely I'm Instagram is a close second. I still think though, and I did a webinar on this a few weeks ago, the number one way to, really grow your business is just to connect with people. I mean, honestly, like genuinely connect with them. And now it's easier than ever because, prior to COVID, I was actually physically sitting at, Starbucks with someone having coffee and chatting about our business. But now that virtual coffee is like a real thing, I'm connecting with people all over the country. So, whether they're providers or doulas or whoever they are, that's how my business grows, by that sort of connection, or we collaborate on something. So now my audience and their audience, has learned a little bit more about me. They are recommending me or whatever that looks like, but connection is key. That is like gold, I think, no matter what. So even, if you're connecting with people in your group or, a lot of, connections that I'm making are going into other groups, like other doula groups, or even, less for me on the business side, but you could go into new mom groups and read what people are posting, read some of the comments. And if you have something, to offer it. But there's always something that catches my eye, and I'll message that person and I'll say, hey, I saw your comment on this. I'm also a doula. I would love to connect because you mentioned home birth or whatever it is. And then I'll say, do you have like 30 minutes for coffee? And I talk about whatever my purpose is for that. But I have no problem reaching out to a random person and letting them know why I'm reaching out. And most people are very receptive. There's always a person who's like, I'm really not interested. Okay, fine. But that's how, that connects to one more person. And then, it sort of just snowballs from there. But I love doing that. I love, and that's something that I think will never, Facebook might fade out or whatever, like connecting with people will never get old, ever. And people appreciate it most of the time. They appreciate, you reaching out and having a cup of coffee. I've met people all over the country and all over the world, in the birth community. Maybe I have something to offer them, maybe not. Hopefully they have something to offer me, but that for me, that I would put that as my number one way to reach people.
So do you have any suggestions on how to get better at the social media thing? So I plan out my posts and whatever. It takes me 1,000 years to do it. And I know that there are younger people, some people that I work with right now who they can just be like, edit, put it together, make all the letters and all the things, and it's all sparkly and it's flashing and it's up and it's done. That would take me 6 months to just do that. Is there a way to learn, like, you have pointers on how to get better at it? Is it just
yes,
doing it, or what?
Practice. But take, pick, like if you're using Canva, pick 3 templates that you love that have like similar colors to your business, but like different, shapes or whatever. Use those 3 things. And then you just swap out the information or swap out the photo, but you have 3 templates that you're just rotating, and then they all match and they all look nice, but they're, different testimonials or different picture or different date or time or whatever. So then they show up on your templates, and then you just keep using those same 3. And they don't have to be sparkly and they don't have to be animated or anything like that. But if you could take like, a couple hours on a Sunday, maybe 2 hours, max 2 hours, and plan out like the next 2 weeks of posts and then just schedule them. So basically it takes you off the hook for the next 2 weeks for your main things, once a day, twice a day, whatever it looks like. If you have, share Wednesdays or Saturdays or whatever it looks like, you're posting those so you don't have to think about it. And then maybe once or twice a day you pop in with something random, but schedule it, get it done, and then you don't have to think about it.
And stick with a theme?
Until you feel like you can hop on and go boop, 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 and then post something, I would just, I'd stick with the same couple of things, and you can just swap out a few details so they don't look the exact same. And it's fine.
Yeah, because I'm always like squeezing my brain to be.
Yeah, so all your stuff like matches.
Yeah, like it's just the same templates and things like that, and then the difference is really
And you
in
can always swap a color in 2 seconds.
yeah.
Suzanne, or anyone who wants to do this, if you want to separate obviously from this, hop on Zoom with me for like 20 minutes. I'll share my Canva screen, and or we can get on your Canva and we can create a couple of templates, and then boom, it's done for you.
I have about 15. I use Canva. I use Unsplash right now. I have not templates that I use, but different designs that I've already chosen for like October and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I find that I'm trying to like come up with new things all the time, come up with new ideas. And
content. Okay.
So what I started doing, I don't know if this is right. What I started doing was actually, so I had joined those mom Facebook groups to find out what are parents wanting to know, blah, blah, blah. And then the whole, my husband left me, I've got blah, 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 basically wanted my head to explode. So I actually went to Pinterest and pulled up, did what does hashtag pregnancy get me, and then saw sort of what other people were doing, and then just did those things, and that sort of triggered little, oh yeah, I could do that, oh, and I could do that, and then you have your perpetual, I wrote it all down,
Yeah.
what I'm going to do for the week. So that's what I do on Sunday. I do them every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't schedule them out. I should.
I schedule mine because I don't, I just won't remember. So I actually subscribe to Plan, and Plan organizes it and schedules it and gives you a little reminder, and you send it out, and
But if you could do like, even like once a month, like before the month starts.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do
like
planning.
Do like a complete like brain dump. Just write down every possible thing you can think of.
Yes.
And then, organize it into weeks, like what would be relevant, to like that week. Yes. And then, you cross off a bunch of things that are ridiculous. And then you're left with like 5 things each week, and then just create those. But I find if you just sit there and like write down every single solitary thing that you can possibly think of and then organize it later, you come up with a lot of content. And then you can even like save, something for like the next month if it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Steph, what were you gonna say something?
I was. It's gone now.
Okay.
You've got medication brain.
Yeah. And I have post-birth brain.
I cannot keep a thought. It is gone as soon. If it doesn't come out of my mouth, it goes off into the universe somewhere. I actually had to ask Suzanne about some wording yesterday because I wasn't sure that I was putting things out there. When you're first pregnant and forget how to like spell your fucking name or something.
Yeah.
That was where I was at. But I love what you're saying about so Suzanne, actually, that's what it was, Suzanne.
Remember.
The scheduling part and everything, but I'm wondering, do you kind of organically throw things in there between the scheduled posts? Like you're out and about and Ziggy's butt looks particularly cute, so you take a little weeble wobble picture of it or video. Like, do you is that how you run it too?
I do that for stories. I do
Mhm.
like more spontaneous things for stories. So my
Okay.
feed is planned and my stories are more spontaneous. So, or if I see, like yesterday we went for a walk and it was such a beautiful day. The light was shining in a really nice way. The sky was a beautiful color, and then a lot of the colors on the tree. So I took bunch of pictures of that. I haven't used them yet, but I have them on my phone, and I'm going to use them somehow, some way. And I sat down and looked at October, and there are certain things in October that for sure, like my daughter's birthday is going to be a post in October. Thanksgiving is going to be a post in October. I don't know what I'm going to do about those things, but I know that on Mondays I want to start being really consistent with podcast promos for Mondays. So Mondays are kind of taken care of. And I used to always do podcast recording days on Thursdays, a story to do like about that. And that helped fill up little squares and boxes so I didn't have to think about what should I put in those things, right? So that's what I started to do. I'm working on filling up my at least half of October, planning it all out. So first, tell me if this is a good idea. Tell me if this is a good idea. So what I do is I have an idea of what I want to do so for instance, I want to do like a recipe once a week. So I'm going to just go through, I know that I want to do like soups for October. So I'm going to just go to Unsplash or other places where there's nice, pretty pictures and just get all the pictures. And I've gathered all the pictures. And next step is to write the stuff and then save it and schedule it. Is there a faster way to do it, or is that the only way to do it?
I mean, unless you're like just taking a picture of the page of the recipe book.
No, I mean, like I'm going to do like a squash soup recipe. So I just found like any picture of squash soup.
Yep.
Really pretty picture. And then I'm going to talk about how, the days are getting colder and blah, blah, blah. And here's a nice recipe for squash soup. And then I have it all saved. That one, I'm not using Canva, but I use different things to get images and whatever. Yep. So that's what I mean. That's what I'm doing. Planning it out, getting the pictures, then writing the stuff, then scheduling it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any faster way.
That one's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. I mean, I would, if that was me, because I'm not making the squash soup, but
I'm not going to make it. I'm just
no, but I'm saying like I don't, yeah. I mean, I would find a picture of squash. I'd have like a nice caption, and then I would link to a recipe somewhere else.
Sure, but I'm talking more about the planning. Is that an efficient way to plan, or is there a faster, more efficient way to plan out your content?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to do all those steps if you're going to put it together. I mean, so that's really not the planning. That's like the putting it together putting the actual post together is what's taking you a long time.
Yes, but there's no shortcut that I'm missing. I'm not making myself do all this labor because I feel like, oh my God, are other people doing this faster than me or what? Or that's what everybody's.
Well, no, because your post has a few components in there. It has the picture, it has the caption, it has the recipe. I mean, so yeah, so putting all that together is time consuming.
Okay, so that it is just what it is. Fine.
That one is just what it is. Yeah. What I was thinking too, and I don't know if you guys do this, but when I thought of this was a huge help because just what you do, Suzanne, I take a bunch of pictures and I know I'm going to use them for something business related, but I don't know what. I have like a hip to heart folder on my phone. So I slide all of that into one folder. So I'm not looking back through my photos and being like, where is that picture of the leaves?
That's what I'm doing. Yes.
And then I can thumb through them real quick and be like, oh, I'm going to reuse that. Or like I used that last year or whatever. But they're all in like one separate folder. So I never have to look back.
Great idea. See, I didn't think of that because yes, that's me looking through. What I've started doing is favoriting my pictures so that ones that are getting little hearts on them. Putting them in a folder is a good idea.
Because I have tons of favorites too, but it's like they're all of my kids. Like, so I'm not going to use those for business, but I slide them all into a business folder. And that way, like, there's still like, 3,700 pictures in there, but they're all business related. Or even if I see like a quote that I love, I snap a quick picture, stick it in there, and I'll retype it at some point, but I just want to make sure that I get it into that folder. But yeah, I'm trying to just cut, any corners I can for time, or for organization. Cause I feel like right now, just my life is unorganized otherwise. So if I can keep one tiny bit, organized, then I feel like I'm a little bit ahead of the game.
Hashtags.
Ish. Yeah. Yes.
What about hashtags? So again, although Suzanne might be posting a picture of squash soup.
Yep.
Or squash soup, should we always be maintaining the same set of?
No.
How do we determine the right hashtags for us so it's not like one of 3 million and it gets lost?
Yep. So I think you always have to have different hashtags for your posts. I would have, some core ones. Like I always use postpartum doula. What else do I always use? Hip to heart. Yeah, obviously. I use birth boss as one, but depends what you're doing. So if you use your regulars, like a couple of regulars, use for squash soup, let's say, hashtag squash soup, hashtag, food for the soul, hashtag like October and something. So get, ones that relate directly to your post, your regulars, and then a couple of ones like, WAHM, like work at home mom, or like mom boss, or something like vague-ish, but that relates to you and your audience. Because everyone who works at home wants to have a nice healthy meal for their family and loves squash in October. They may not be birth related, but you're getting them,
right.
You're getting their eyes on your page.
Mm-hmm.
And if your goal
mix, and you can't just copy and paste all the ones from like that you always use. You got to change it up. Like Instagram doesn't like monotony.
True. And if your goal is to reach so if you're working at this just from the position of not dueling another doula, you're looking for this to reach parents.
Yep.
Then something along the lines of soup would still apply to preparing for postpartum.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You could reach multiple audiences. Like, even, first foods, like squash soup is an excellent first food for someone who's 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Toddler favorites. That's something that, room temperature could go to daycare. I mean, there's so many things that squash soup could be good for, prenatally, postpartum, toddlers, kids. I mean, now that all our kids are home, we need quick, heat up things for our kids to eat when they have a break in school. And it's just healthy. So now you could possibly, get those fitness coach connections. Then they're going to have all their eyes on you, and they're going to be, hitting you up in DMs with their naked, bodies, being like, ooh, that's a healthy option.
Wow. You just upped my squash soup post.
Yeah. You gotta, you gotta sort of have your eyes on like the bigger picture and still really hone in on your like core audience.
It kind of requires a skill where you take something that doesn't seem like it can relate to anybody, like squash soup.
Yep.
And you have to be creative.
It relates to everybody.
Yeah, figuring out how does this thing relate to everybody. Like walking my puppy. What does that have to do with anything except me and my life? Well, it has to do with exercise during COVID, getting out, getting fresh air, mental health, connecting with nature and animals and so on. Like you've got to kind of like be creative and branch it all out.
But you could even, with the dog walking thing, you could sort of gear that into thinking about like postpartum families. Like our fur babies were our first babies. So now that we have a new baby, do we need a dog walker? Like what are our postpartum needs? I mean, I would never want my dog not to get walked 3 times, but if I have a new baby or a toddler and I can't get out, what about in the winters? You're not wrapping up that whole baby to walk your dog for 5 minutes. Where are our doggy walkers locally, our dog hikers? Who can come walk our dog? How important is, dog and baby harmony, now we have a family of +1. So you can incorporate that in multiple, ways,
Yeah.
but still hit like your core audience.
Well, see, that's the thing. It requires so much creativity in 10 days. It's just not like today. It's low. The creative energy is low.
You
So,
had like
I would keep
2 hours of sleep, so
yeah, so that's not.
that's not enough. That's not enough.
she was at a birth.
I was at a birth.
Yeah, you gotta
I gotta
Re-energize.
re-energize.
I know I'm using caffeine this morning to re-energize, and I don't love that now you don't get a straw. I love it from the environmental standpoint. So I'm never going to use a straw again, basically. But it does not make me happy. Did you see I was just drinking and then I caught a piece of ice, so now I'm chewing the ice on camera, basically. That does not happen with a straw.
This
You
is
need
the
to get
doulas. No worries.
you need to
Well,
get
that's
some
gonna
metal
happen in public,
straws.
too. I mean, that's going to happen when I don't want to.
Yeah, I gotta have straws. I got straws in my car. I got straws in my bedroom. I got those metal straws, aluminum straws, and straws in the kitchen. I got straws everywhere.
I know it makes it more enjoyable, but I'm a straw biter, so I don't like the metal or the plastic ones. So basically, I'm stuck now with no straw, and I will probably grow to be okay with it, but right now it's not as enjoyable. And I'm definitely like an iced coffee person.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a little less enjoyable now, but I like everything else. You shift and you just
Pivot.
go with it.
Pivot.
It's all about the pivot.
Yep. I know if one thing Dueling has taught me, it's, be flexible, pivot on a dime. So when they stick the coffee out the window and there's no straw accompanying it, I just drive away.
We stick it in the
bin. Yep.
With the long handle. Yes.
Yep. So our Starbucks actually puts it in a mug. So I'm like, that's very difficult because it sometimes gets suctioned in there. Like it fits just in the mug. So you have to like get it out and it's awkward. It's not easy. Yeah.
Oh, COVID, what you have.
I know. How many times a day do I say like, when this is over, I'm going to do A, B, and C. And then people are like, it's not going to be over. Like
It's
what
never over.
I'm waiting for like one of these.
Nope.
The new way.
On a hockey stick.
Yes.
Window.
Yep.
You take it out of the box and
I'll get out there.
Canada. That's how we do it in Canada.
We strap the internet or the payment thing onto a hockey stick and push it out the window. Go, yep, okay,
And you
done.
go buy your Timmies. That's how it comes.
Oh,
We
Canada.
don't have that here.
That's hilarious. All right, this was amazing. Thank you.
Really helpful. I do feel a little bit energized, and like sort of recommitted to. Now that I know that I'm not doing it all horribly wrong.
Yeah.
It
sometimes takes like one thing. Like a few years ago, I mentioned this before, but my dad got sick and I took a step back from doula care and he eventually passed away. And this was in May. And I spent the whole summer just feeling like with a frown on my face, I did nothing. And then in September, I found a business course in like Maine, in like northern Maine. And it was like a 6-hour course. And I was like, you know what? I need something. I need to sit with other people and like, I just need to like get back in the game somehow. And it was relevant-ish. But I like drove myself up there, like sat. I was pregnant at the time too. Sat for 6 hours and like drove home. So it was like a, 13-hour like round trip thing. And it's like exactly what I needed. I got back and I was like, boom. Like I learned something today that I can use in my business. I felt creative on the way home. Like I needed one thing to just push me like in the direction of, I'm back to myself. And so, yeah, so sometimes it's little, sometimes it's like a, like 8-hour drive to Maine, round trip, not one way, but yeah.
And that's why I was really happy about the Kappa conference, because even though it couldn't be live and I had planned to attend,
Me too.
it always moves me forward. It always and it always comes in like September, October, which is awesome, because this is usually the time where I'm like, ugh, I'm floundering. I don't like this. What am I doing with my life? Blah, blah, blah. But it's always something that's going to like light a spark under my ass and keep me moving forward. And I think, and even though some of the stuff I'm learning, I kind of already knew that, it reminds me,
Reaffirms.
yeah, like why I'm doing this. And it also tells me, yeah, you know what you're doing, which I think is great. So, so
I
yeah, I
think
mean, I think attending those conferences and stuff is really great.
it can inspire you to pivot too. I think sometimes when we're getting tired of one thing, we might not see that there's another path or a complementary path. And getting together with our community and networking and going to conferences and stuff like that, sometimes it there's something that you didn't even think was a possibility for you, and here it is presented right in front of you. I mean,
Yeah. It's like
sharing.
it's getting like a refresh. It's like hitting a refresh button. And it might be even like something you hear in like another conversation that you're like, oh, that would work for me. Like that's easy and I can do that.
Yeah.
I love Kappa Conference.
And your course, so you mentioned that you have a $97 course. Actually, I do have a question.
Sure.
You said $97, and as soon as you said that, I thought that's a peculiar number to come up with. Any particular reason why you came up with 97 versus quite often you see things being sold for 99? I didn't know if you just did that to be a little different or.
No, honestly. So it's funny. I think it's 132 Canadian because I had a couple of Canadians be like, "Is it 97 here too?" And I'm like, "I have no clue. That's a great
Nope.
question." But it's 132. 97. I don't know. I see everything for like 17, 47, 97. I don't know. I made it 97. 99 feels sneaky because it's 100. 97 is 100, but 97 is not 100. So
That's true.
I don't know why I chose that. But yeah, I did it sort of strategically. The course is 97. I have a planner I designed, and so this is something else that I try to think of things that I need that aren't out there, and then I like figure them out for the masses. I created a planner. I designed a planner specifically for birth professionals that has
Suzanne is like going to lose her mind because
How
she is so planner focused. It is
planner
ridiculous.
I love a planner. And then I could never find a perfect one. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take it upon myself to create it. It is a regular, it's 8.5 by 11. It is, spiral bound, but it has a page before each month that is just notes for upcoming clients. So you have the monthly calendar after that, and then you flip and it's weekly, but each day is broken up hourly for your appointments and interviews and things like that. On the side of each week, it has a place for like a to-do list, for notes, for goals or whatever. You will find World Breastfeeding Week. You will find World Doula Week on there. And then it has the month before those, it has reminders to plan for World Breastfeeding Week. So what are you planning for your events? And then it has like 5 pages in the front, 5 pages in the back of just lines for notes. It has some motivational quotes throughout. I put like a lovely little heartfelt note in the front. But yeah, so I was like, I can never find something that suits my needs, so I'm just going to create it because I assume my birthing needs are fairly similar to your birthing needs, right? For staying organized. So yeah, so I created a planner. So my strategic planning for that was the course is 97, the planner is 35, and then there was a $10 bonus that is creating Facebook groups, creating and growing your Facebook group. So it's like a mini course. So I stuck it in there for 10. So you have 10, 35, and 97 were like the price points for it. And most people bought all 3, to be honest with you. The $10 one was like a tripwire. So after you bought the course, it popped up and said, for an extra $10, would you like this? And I mean, I'm always a sucker for like the stuff at the counter. So.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was my strategic plan under the supervision of someone who's like a marketing person. I didn't come up with that. But yeah, so I don't know why 97 came up, but that's what it was.
That's cool.
Perfect.
And I love the $10 little, I guess, upsell or addition.
Yeah.
And I you know what? I like to do that in person. It's the strangest thing. But when I'm with someone, I always almost finish off with, look, if you need an additional 3 visits, this is how much it is. We can schedule it where you need it. And I just throw it out there before I'm leaving someone's house. I mean, right now, but I'm a big fan of the last thing, because someone might be feeling, oh, that's it. And it's like, no, it's not. But there's more.
There's always more.
Well, I had sent out the link for the new parent page, new parent Facebook page, and I had sent it out to those that had taken my class. But in my infant care class last night that I did, I just mentioned that I'm going to send them a link for it, and if they want to join it, and blah blah blah, and this is what it's going to be about, and all this stuff. And there was one person that was in my prenatal classes that I had sent it to. But I mean, her husband is a doctor, and she was always kind of like step back a little bit from the information I was getting. She was listening and asking really great questions, but it always seemed like she wasn't sort of connecting. Um, but then after I had thrown that out right at the end, before I said bye everybody, good luck, um, when I went to my phone after the class, she'd asked to join. It was like, well, there you go. So yeah, it's those like little last minute things to spark something for people.
Yep.
The chocolate dinner.
And
Chocolate at the counter.
in the class, I talk about the importance of connection, and I touch upon Facebook groups, but I wanted the course to be very foundational. Like, here's some great ideas, but there's some follow through that has to happen with all of them. And so the thing that I chose as the follow through bonus was the Facebook groups. So yeah, so that, for $10 extra, and it's great. I talk about the importance, I talk about the why, the where, the whatever, and then the module 2 is me on my computer building a Facebook group. So you can see from my business page to the blank group, and I go through there's 20 steps to building the group, the membership questions, the this, the that, and you can see me doing it on my screen, and I narrate it all. So
well, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's better than people watching Minecraft while you do that.
Well, it's better than trying to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, true. Awesome. This has been great. We're
Yeah.
as far as time. I think
Awesome.
we're good. I think we're great.
I want to get if you don't mind, because and obviously I would ask first, but can I get a picture of the 4 squares?
Oh yes, we're gonna do that.
That way you can do some cool stuff with hey,
there. Okay, go ahead.
It looks kind of funny because you can't see my camera. Hold on. All right, everyone look at the camera and say cheese.
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 All right. And I can send this to you guys.
Oh, that'd be great.
Great, yeah, that'd be great.
All right, perfect.
Well, thank you. And where can people find you? We've been talking all about social media.
Hip to Heart, it's so repetitive. Hip2heart.com is my website. I am at Hip to Heart on Instagram, and then my business page is Hip to Heart on Facebook. The business group is Business for Birth Professionals. So, search that on Facebook, and you can join, and you can find anything you need from me in there, in one of those 3 things.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you
so much.
Thank you for having me. This is fantastic. I love this.
All right, so this will go out on Monday.
Okay.
Monday next week.
Time, I like it.
Yeah. We don't have anything in the can, so we're really kind of
we're not
scrambling here.
Okay, yeah.
We used to have stuff in the cans where we could, take a break if need be or whatever, but COVID hit and we don't have that.
Use it all.
Like everything else.
Yep. All right. Awesome. Thank you. And I hope everybody rates, reviews, and subscribes. You tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Tell 3 friends. We don't have
and you can win a Timmy's gift card.
Oh, please don't. We don't. I don't have any money for that right now.
On me. On me.
All right.
What did you say? What was that? I missed it.
You, Kimberly said invite 3 friends, and I said you could win a Timmy's gift card on me.
There you go. All right, cool. Let us know. Keep us posted. Stay safe. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Wear a mask.
Put your mask on.
And be awesome. Don't forget to be awesome.
Yeah.
While you're doing all of those things, while you're staying safe, be awesome too.
See that? See how she did that? I always say, don't be an asshole. And she's like, be awesome. Look at how positive that is, right?
No, we should.
That's why we go so good together. You do your half and we meet in the middle.
I should,
That's important. Be
that's true.
awesome and don't be an asshole.
Yep.
Yes, and wash your hands too.
Wash-
Also, wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.